Oh, here we are, another sports car story. This time you find me in an Alfa Mito, Alfa Romeo Mito, which is, I think, the best starter sports car that you can buy. You know, for someone who's just passed their driving test, or a young driver. If you want a low insurance sports car, what do you have? What do you go for? Well, I think it's Alfa Mito. Let me go through why I think it's an Alfa Mito. First reason, it's an Alfa Romeo. Now, you've got to have an Italian car at some point in your sports car career. You might as well start off with one. I mean, look at it. It's an Alfa Romeo. It's made in Italy, somewhere between Milan and Torino, which is why it's called a Mito. And it's just got that Italian flair feel to it. Let me go into that with number 2, the performance. It's not ever so fast, but it's the peppy engine, the sort of rorty noise that it makes. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but it makes a lovely little burble. It's a turbo, like a lot of these cars, but how Italians have managed to make it sound exotic and sporty, which is a big part of a sports car, is the sound of it. It really handles beautifully, and a lot of small cars do these days, but as long as it's properly serviced and set up and everything, these cars handle very well. They've got a lovely little chassis. I don't think it's right up there with the Mini, which is really a great chassis, and the Ford Fiesta's got a brilliant chassis too, but I think it's not bad. So that's my number 2, is the performance of this car, including the chassis. Hasn't got a great rev range. You're up to 6,000 before to change up. Look at that. See, that's nice. It's nice. And actually, it's actually quite good for heel and towing, just saying that. It's not my number 3, but this is heel and towing is a little art in itself. But you've got to have a car that's, a little bit set up for heel and towing. The pedals have got to be in the right place, and they are on this. I won't be able to show you that, and I'm not an expert anyway, but you can heel and tow it. Number 3, let's get this party started, hold on, is the dashboard. Look at it, that is a sports car dashboard. It's got your rev counter, beautiful speedo that says benzina instead of petrol, because it's Italian, but that's part of being Italian sports car. I love it. I know it's a bit contrived, but oh Christ, that's bad roads. This country's getting worse. Benzina, and the water temperature says agua. See, I feel almost Italian. I feel like I'm driving along the shores of Lake Como in this. With beautiful dashboard, lovely at night, by the way. It's a lovely dashboard at night, and it's a proper grown-up dashboard, never mind sports car, but it is a sports car dashboard. And if you compare it to a Ford Fiesta or a Mini with that big roundy thing, I think it's a proper dashboard, and I'd have been happy with a dashboard like that. And my DB11, when I had it, it was a really terrible dashboard in that thing. Number 4, I'd say, is the looks of the thing. It looks like a well-designed little Italian car, especially from the rear. Those little round lights just give a Ferrari-esque appeal, and I think it's a good-looking car. I've spruced this one up with a bit of nice alloy wheels, and I think it's a bit dated, the sort of black alloy wheels on a black car, but I think it gives it a sporty feel anyway. But I think it's a good-looking car. That's my number 4, and it's important. There aren't that many cars in this price range that you'd consider to be good-looking, and I think a little bit awkward at the front maybe, but I think they were limited by the architecture that they had. I think it's the same architecture as the Fiat 500. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's part of the limiting factors probably, was that it was limited by what they were given to deal with. But it's a bit of a long front, but I do like the offset number plate. It's a lovely feature. Again, it reminds me of Alfas of old, that offset number plate. It just gives it a nice bit of flair. And my number 5, and this will probably surprise me, 6-speed gearbox, people. 6-speed. So you can row it along. What I love about 6-speed gearboxes, and it reminds me of my 355, is that you can be cruising in 6th. Now, you might be finding that you get a little bit of hill in 6 in this, because you know it hasn't got a lot of power, but you can be in 6th and drop it 2 just like that, and it's just a lovely thing to do in any sports car. Is that control from 6th to 4th is lovely. Handling, look at that. So that's my 5 things really. I'd like to know your opinion. Is there any other sports cars for new drivers that you can think of? But it's getting more difficult to get a manual, peppy engine, good looking, great chassis, great handling, fast enough, 6-speed sports car for your learner driver. What's the rivals? It's a Ford Fiesta. We had 2 Ford Fiestas for the kids in our family, and they were both stolen within 3 months of each other, which is typical in this country. I don't know, somebody's got all the, into 6 people, somebody's got all the software to break into Fiestas. The second car, we actually got to the point where we had an air tag in the car, and we told the police where it was. They still didn't find it. The air tag ended up in Latvia. I think they could have broken a big crime ring, but what I'm saying is Fiesta's a rival, but I'm a bit worried about them at the moment because they're very stealable. I think it probably has a better chassis. I'd argue that it's a better chassis, give you that. But because Ford, especially back in the late noughties, had brilliant chassis engineers, there's no doubt. I mean, and the insurance was cheaper on the Ford, but I don't think it is now, not with the amount of thefts that's going on with them. And these Alfas don't get stolen so much. I think that's just a rarer commodity anyway. The Mini is a rival, but the insurance on a Mini, I think it's because it's a BMW, is too high. So if you've got a new driver in your family and check insurances, Mini insurance is just through the roof compared. I think, and also they don't do a 1 litre, so, and it's very sensitive, the insurance, to the size of the engine. That's why the Fiesta 1 litre Z-Tech was good. That's why this 1 litre is good, and the same as the Fiat 500, which is again another rival. I don't think it's a sports car, Fiat 500. I think it's more of a cutesy car. I think that the emphasis is different. This is an Alfa Romeo. You even say it that way when you got one, because you suddenly learn how to speak Italian. But those are the rivals, I think, at least in the UK. I mean, it might be different in other countries, but I think check out Alfa Mitos. And the other last good thing about them is they don't make them anymore. So this is not something that's going to be replaced by a new Alfa Mito. It's the end of the line. It's already the end of the line. And I know you're going to argue that it's not a sports car, but you've got to start somewhere. And I think this could well be your first sports car. You know, and then 4 or 5 cars' time, you'll be in a Ferrari. Trust me, it'll happen. But everyone's got to get out there, get driving. The world is ending with all these electric cars and everything coming along. And to have a 6-speed, lovely, peppy little engine with a nice dashboard, great music, air conditioning, it's a lot of car. Thanks for watching. See you next time.